All right. On to the next fight. And Tyler, I'm going to have to get you. Hey, wait, I forgot. I did some research, and this is actually how this fight got announced. Yeah, how this fight got chosen. Because a lot of people were saying, who was banging on the door saying we need Bo Nickal and Kyle Daukaus on this card? And I did some digging, and actually, so Donald Trump and Nick Saban met, right? And
There's layers to this. Okay. Well,
any, you get
yeah,
you
there
get the
is a.
reference there?
I no, yeah, of
Sweet,
course I
sweet,
get that.
sweet, sweet, sweet.
Come on. No, but there is another layer to this, Kev. I did some digging as well because I heard on one of the podcasts I was listening to, I believe it was the one that Poirier's on nowadays,
Oh yeah, with
where they were
Masvidal.
talking about how Bo Nickel and Trump are actually boys. Yeah, Bo Nickel, during his time at Penn State Wrestling, he went to the White House in 2019 and met him, and I guess they've been like this
Yeah, I
ever
know
since.
they've golfed and whatnot. So yeah,
Yeah,
that
a lot of people were saying they knew Bo Nickel was going to be on for that reason. I also have a nickname for this one. I'm calling it the Battle of the Slim Jims. I think I look tall, two tall boys with insane reaches who just ain't that bulky. So
can you go ahead and say Kyle's last name again? I caught you saying it earlier. I want to. Can you say that again?
I saw you smiling, and I was immediately thinking to myself, "Oh, I screwed that up." Doghouse.
Okay,
I would like
Daukaus.
doghouse, right?
Daukaus. Yeah, yeah.
Doggus.
Anyway,
Doghouse. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Okay. Okay. One thing I have. One fighter that everyone expected on the card was Bo Nickel. He, but I need you to explain something else for me, Kev. Doghouse,
Daukaus.
Dawkins, previously cut from the UFC back in 2022. What was the reasoning behind that? He just wasn't performing.
Yeah, I guess he had back-to-back losses
Okay.
against Dolidze and Eric Anders, and yeah, I believe that fight with Jamie Pickett was his first fight in the UFC. So, he went 1-2, got cut, and then he went on the regional scene. I believe it was Cage Warriors where he won 4 in a row, all 4 finishes.
Yep.
And yeah, he got a second chance contract, and he's 2-0 since then.
Yep. And so one thing I will say, looking at the previous fights, looking at Kyle's previous, I'm not even going to attempt it anymore. Looking at Kyle's previous fight, I mean, I got nothing from that. It was against Gerald Mearshart. And, that one was over in, I think, like 2 minutes. It was pretty bad. But Bo Nickel, another one of those guys who, despite his wrestling background, not afraid to stand up and
Mhm.
his wrestling background. I think that's going to come in handy here. And it came very much in handy in against, wow, I just said a lot of principles. It came very handy in his matchup against Rodolfo Vieira because he was able to escape those takedown attempts very easily. He was able to like get away from him and all that. I think he's going to be doing the same thing with a guy who's a submission grappler and Mr. Kyle here. And the odds are very much on my side. I think that, Bo is a -355 favorite. This is another one of those where I wouldn't gamble it in real life, but just from what I'm seeing, everything about Bo, I'm taking him by submission.
I guess, did you watch Bo Nichols' fight with Renier de Ridder?
No, I did not.
Okay, so one thing that I'm sure a lot of fans have realized is how much Kyle Daukaus looks like RDR. From his body shape to his hair to his head, he looks like RDR, and
He's got that alien look. Yeah.
he has a similar fighting style as well. I mean, RDR is great with the submissions. Now, when we look at Bo's loss to Renier de Ridder, what happened was he tried to get takedowns in the first round, and due to Renier de Ridder's size, and the de Ridder, I think, was in his 40th pro fight at that point. His
Yeah.
experience, he was able to thwart the takedown. I think Bo kind of not gassed himself out, but he really emptied the tank trying to get the takedown, and it didn't come. And then Renier de Ridder's got him with a couple knees, and then that ended up finishing him. So the reason I say that is I think that loss will ultimately be good for Bo. I mean, we saw how he came back from it with the head kick KO of Rodolfo, which was very
Ooh.
impressive. But just in the grappling sense, I don't think he's going to make that same mistake where he empties the gas tank in the first round trying to prove that he can get a takedown. Trying to get that takedown because he feels lost if he can't. I think he's became a more mature fighter after that. Now, the one thing I do see is I wonder if he's even going to go for a takedown just because of the submission threat of Kyle Daukaus in Bo's fight with Paul Craig. One sec. In Bo's fight with Paul Craig, he did not engage in wrestling whatsoever. He turned into a stand-up fight because Paul Craig is so good at submitting wrestlers. So, yeah. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just like saying like, yes, I agree with you on
Sweet.
that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That's
No, so what was your pick? Did you already make it?
I have not, but I can start. Well, I'm going with Bo Nickel.
Yeah, I think
And I
we're all
think I
across the
have
board
him
in agreement
by
on that.
decision. I think Bo's like his typical best path to victory is to take somebody down, soften them up, and then get the choke. I don't think he's gonna be able to find a submission on Kyle Daukaus, and he's gonna even have to be careful when he goes in on those takedown entries. If he gets sloppy, Daukaus, I
Yep.
believe, has a couple Darce choke submissions on his record, maybe a guillotine, maybe not, but Bo can't just try to force a takedown because he might end up getting caught. I think he's going to outwork him on the feet in rounds 1 and 2, and then when the time's right, when Kyle's not really expecting it, I think Bo's going to get him down. He's going to do a takedown. Now he's not much of a ground and pounder, so I think he's going to maybe win the first round striking, second round mixing a takedown, see if that works. If that does, I think round 2 and 3 he goes that route, just take him down, hold him there, maybe threaten some submissions, get a little ground and pound off. But I see it being a decision for Bo Nickel.
Yeah, and the graphic is gonna show this, and I hate it because it's like the college game day thing where it's like when the graphics all the same across the board, and I'm not good. But you know what? The more I think about this one in real time, the more I think this is gonna be like a battle of two guys who are gonna like just be conservatively not trying to go for the takedown because they have that thought where they know the other guy is going to be able to like back off and like assume like the dominant position, like reverse almost the takedown attempt. So it could be a slow burn. So I hope that doesn't happen, but the way that we're talking here has me thinking that's what it's going to be. But just based on pedigree and based on experience, I'm sticking with Bo Nickel via decision.
Yeah, and I think Bo Nickel has an opportunity to make a big jump in just showing people the evolution of his game because he was a collegiate wrestler. Didn't
Yep.
he's 30 right now. I think he's maybe 6 years into training MMA, and he had that head kick KO last year. He has a KO of Val Woodburn. Granted that was a fight on short notice, but what I'm getting at is if his striking continues to evolve like at this trajectory. Once he hits his prime, like 34, 35, he could be a real force in this division. But
Man,
we shall see.
I tell you what, Kev, between Mr. Bone Nickel and the fact that Diego Lopez is training at Oklahoma State, we're inching closer and closer towards there being a direct pipeline between collegiate wrestling and the UFC. We're I we're inching towards there. I mean, as we've seen this week, the UFC or NCAA is willing to do whatever for money, so it's probably going to happen. But yeah, sticking with Bo Nickel across the board graphic, we're all probably going to lose money on this.